Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. So today we will talk about London South Bank University, and I would like to introduce you our speaker, Malcolm Davidson, and Helen. She's a professor from London South Bank University, and they will tell us about the university, and we will be talking about creative arts. Am I right, Malcolm?
Yes. Yeah, creative arts, like the School of Arts and Creative Industries, amongst other things as well.
Yes. And actually, I told my agents and my partners that we will talk a little bit about bioscience, just a few words, if you don't mind. I know that you have a new faculty. So welcome to our webinar. I hope you will enjoy it. So please send your question in the chat, or please mute your microphones during the presentation, and you will have a time for question after. So I think we should start, Malcolm, for now, and I will do some recording, and I will send you this recording after the webinar. So enjoy. Yeah.
Thank you, Olga. Thank you very much. So can everybody see the presentation? Yes? Hope you can hear me and see the presentation. Okay, so thanks everyone for coming this morning to see our presentation on London South Bank University. Some of you already know quite a bit about our university. Some of you are already sending students to our university. Some of you maybe don't know very much. So yeah, the first thing to say about London South Bank University, as you know, there's many universities in London, many in central London, so why us? And I think there's a lot of really strong selling points for London South Bank University, which we'll look at today. I can boil it down maybe to 5 really big main selling points. Number one, fantastic central London location. So we're in zone 1 in the heart of London. Really great stats around employability, a really diverse student body, 16,000 students. It's a big university. And I think if you look at the prices of other UK universities, other London universities, and you look at tuition and accommodation, I think our university is actually a much more affordable London option. I think often students are surprised, parents are surprised, agents are surprised at how much it costs to study at London South Bank University, often a lot less than people expect UK education to cost, and a really huge range of courses. Okay, I'm being told you can't see my presentation on the screen. I have shared the screen. Does anybody have any tips for me how to share the screen?
We're getting, Malcolm, it's Helen here. We're getting your screen, but what we're not getting is actually content on it. What we're getting is a blank outline of a PowerPoint slide.
Okay.
So there's sharing facility going on and PowerPoint is appearing, but what we're getting is like a blank template rather than content.
Right, okay. Because I'm clicking on share.
Yeah. Have you got your PowerPoint open behind?
Yes.
You've got the slide open, and then when you're clicking on share, you're clicking actually on the slideshow that you want to open.
So the PowerPoint is open, yes, on my desktop.
Yeah. And you're clicking on share. And then you drop down and you click. You should have underneath your share button the whole series of files that you have open at any one moment. And then if you click on PowerPoint, that should bring up then that particular choice.
Okie doke. Are you seeing it now?
Yes, we have it now.
Fantastic. That's what I had before, so I don't know what's different this time, but it's good. You can see.
This time we certainly have. We certainly have all your content.
Fantastic. Okay, well, guys, you haven't missed that much. You missed 2 slides with some content on, so that's not that much. Okay, good. It's good we're going now. So a bit about us as well. We're a modern university, but we have a long history, 120 years of teaching already. That's just to mention, a lot of people think we're a very new university that's only been around a few years. We have a long history, but just overall a very forward-thinking approach, a lot of money being invested in the campus, a real mix of old and new. Most of our courses are industry accredited and with a very strong sort of employability focus. And some really fantastic awards we've won in the past few years. 2 years in a row now, we've won the award University of the Year for Graduate Employment. That's from the Sunday Times Good University Guide. And we're really, really proud of that. We're the only university that's won that 2 years in a row. Also, last year, we came 4th in the UK for best average starting salaries for graduates. And if you look at the rest of the universities in that top 10, it's mainly top Russell Group unis. So again, we're really, really proud of that stat. And down there too, I think really important, an award for outstanding student services. If I speak to our students, often the feedback they give about London South Bank, I think because it is one integrated campus, it's all in one place, they talk about how friendly and supportive the staff are at London South Bank University, which is really important when you're moving to London for the first time. So a bit about location. Many of you know London pretty well, I'm sure. And we have a fantastic location in Zone 1, Elephant and Castle. The campus is just 20 minutes walk to Big Ben, London Eye, all these famous places. And you'll see here, it's one integrated campus. It's all in one place. And those colored dots that you see around the campus there, that is our accommodation. So our accommodation is located literally 2-3 minutes walk from campus. And you'll see the prices there. These are last year's prices. We're still waiting for the prices for this September. But you'll see there you can get a single room from around about £550, £650 a month, which for Zone 1 Central London, not paying any transport costs, everything close to the campus, is a really, really good price for Central London. But a bit more about the London South Bank University experience. So why have we won this award, University of the Year for Graduate Employment? It's what we're really going to look at today. I think it really is. At London South Bank University, it's all about learning by doing, hands-on learning. It's the opposite of that old-fashioned academic research style of learning. It really is experiential learning. A big focus on business and enterprise. This is embedded into, or we're trying to embed it into almost all of the courses that we offer. Lots of different things like we offer students on many courses live, like for example in business or in other subjects too, you get given real world projects to work on. It's not just theory, you're actually doing projects for real companies sometimes instead of doing traditional exams and assessments. Most of our courses offer either as part of the course, as a sandwich year, or as an optional extra at some kind of internship, work placement, work experience. So these are just some of the companies that our students have done work placements with. You'll see here JP Morgan mentioned, that's a really nice story I had from our head of economics, the economics course recently. She was talking about how last year they sent 2 students from London South Bank University for work placement at JP Morgan. And there were 2 other students on the same placement from a Russell Group university. And at the end of the placement, this of course is anecdotal, but JP Morgan said to her, next year we only want London South Bank students, because they really love the way they've been taught, their approach to work, the kind of the hands-on learning they've had has really helped them they know how to do the job that they're supposed to be doing already, which really, really helps. Fantastic opportunities for networking. So our students have for the Institute of Directors, which is a big business networking organization in London, and we have the largest student membership body of any university in London. So a huge amount of students are joining this scheme and networking with local businesses. And we've even had some students who've been offered work on their first networking event with the IOD. So that's really fantastic feedback. And then there's lots of opportunities for students to get involved and use their skills in a practical way to help the community. So these are 2 clinics we have on campus. There's the Business Solutions Centre, which is like a local help desk really for local businesses, local entrepreneurs. So our business studies students, they can volunteer at the Business Solutions Centre. And basically they would provide pro bono help to local entrepreneurs trying to start their business. If they need help with business strategy or social media marketing, our students can work there and help local businesses. And then we have a legal advice clinic. This is for our law students. We have a really high rated law course, by the way. This year our law course has reached number 11th in the UK on the rankings. Legal advice clinic, our students can help members of the local community who can't afford legal advice. They can advise them on legal issues, where to go for help. It's a really fantastic way for our law students to get some hands-on experience. And this being a university right in the heart of central London, I've been told by our business professor, it's one of the busiest law clinics in the UK in any university. A really diverse range of people live in central London, so lots of interesting cases to get involved with. And then something we talk about a lot is entrepreneurship and enterprise. So what exactly does this mean? So we have this enterprise center on campus. This building you see in the picture, that's our enterprise hub. And we have a startup center on campus. There's something like 70 startup businesses on our campus alone. And enterprise, of course, it's something that's there for business students, but students from any course can get involved in our entrepreneurship projects. So we have this entrepreneurship certificate that's open to all students. So all the time, constantly on campus, we have different workshops, events, seminars on enterprise and entrepreneurship. All students can get involved, whether you're studying drama, whether you're studying psychology, law, business. If you attend 6 events, 6 workshops, you can get a certificate in Introduction to Entrepreneurship. Then below, there's a really cool new thing called Idea Hack. This is a new project. So that is for students that maybe they've tried a bit, if they have a business idea that they want to try, or they've tried our sort of entrepreneurship seminars. If you have a business idea, there's like a 2-week residential you can apply for. You present your business plan idea, and if they like your business plan idea, you can be invited onto the residential. And on that 2-week residential, it's a business competition. You work with entrepreneurs and business experts to develop your business idea, and at the end of the 2 week, you pitch your business plan. And if they like your business plan, at the end, you can be chosen to join Idea Hub, which means you're given support with some funding for starting your business, with support for starting your business. You're given some kind of like premises as well to sort of work on your business ideas as well. So that's a really fantastic opportunity, open to all LSBU students, whether you're first year or even up to 5 years after graduation. So there's some really interesting information on the website about that. We also offer internships and consultancy. Again, this is a bit like the Business Solutions Center, but no matter what you're studying, and Helen will tell you more about this in a minute with the School of Arts and Creative Industries. But for example, if you're an IT student, you can market your skills as a freelance IT consultant to local businesses. I think ultimately, when we say enterprise, it's not just entrepreneurship, it's not just starting your own business. It's kind of teaching our graduates and sort of embedding into the curriculum this idea of being able to create your own opportunities, start your own projects, find work for yourself. I think something like 1/3 of our graduates go on to become self-employed. So this is really something we're trying to instill in young people, that you can create your own opportunities. And yeah, this is embedded into everything that we do. I think a good example of this is the new program we have, which is biomedical science. And I think it's really interesting. There's 3 pathways on this course. So first of all, excuse me, the first pathway is applied medical sciences, and that's a more traditional bioscience program. And that's really cool. That carries an accreditation, which means that once you complete this program, you can then transfer onto graduate route medicine. So that is an approved program for students that want to perhaps progress onto medicine. As you know, medicine is a very difficult program to get onto in the UK, but this provides a different route into that. But also that provides a good sort of foundation if you want to move on to work, I don't know, train as a physiotherapist or occupational therapist, radiography, different healthcare professions. And then the second route, this is where entrepreneurship comes in. Of course, the pharmaceuticals industry, sort of biotech startups, this is a really big growing sphere. So the pharmaceutical and biotechnology industry pathway also teaches bioscience, but also teaches entrepreneurship. So it's combining biosciences with an element of entrepreneurship too, for students that maybe want to move in a more commercial direction. And then the third pathway would be the science policy. That is more looking at policy, the legal side. So it combines bioscience and law for students that are more interested in that pathway. And the really good thing about these pathways is you don't have to choose which one you want to do until you're into your second year on the course. So you have a chance to start the degree and see which direction you want to take. But the point of today was to talk about the fact that also we're not just a business school. One thing I find promoting London South Bank University is that often preconception that London South Bank is a business university. And I think one of the faculties that is really, really, really sort of embodying everything that we're trying to do around learning by doing, employability, enterprise embedded into the curriculum is our School of Arts and Creative Industries. And one of the courses that I think does it the best is the course of Dr. Helen Powell, who's here today to talk about it. So I'm going to hand over to Helen right now. Helen, can you see the presentation?
No.
Okay. Bear with me one sec.
Perfect.
Here we go.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Powell. I lecture in creative advertising with marketing here at London South Bank. And what I'm very interested in talking to you about today is how that entrepreneurial spirit that Malcolm outlined is actually converted into curriculum here in the School of Arts and Creative Industry. So what I'll talk about just for about 10 minutes is the school in general, and then more specifically I will give you a case study which will allow you to see how that transfer of values and knowledge can actually be applied to a programme. So here you can see our school based on Borough Road. This is where the arts and creative industries are based. The building will give you a sense of history. So what we are seeing there, in fact, is a new and exciting vision taking place inside a very old building that reflects London's history and South Bank's history. So if we move on to the next slide, we can then see the shape of the School of Arts and Creative Industries. So we are made up of a number of different divisions, or schools as we call them. And the first one is the School of Performance Arts, which operates at undergraduate and postgraduate level. And interestingly, our postgraduate programs are evidencing the way in which we reach out to the broader London community and form partnerships with organisations, institutions, galleries, theatres, etc., so that what our students are learning both at undergraduate and postgraduate level is current curriculum that reflects what is actually going on in those particular industries. So as you can see here, in relation to our MA in Curating Arts and our MA in Creative Performance, and theatres, well-known galleries and theatres here in London, in order that students can not only gain work experience, but that we can ensure that our curriculum is current as in terms of what is going on within the arts at any particular moment in time. So if we move on to the next school then, which is on the next slide. Here what we're seeing is the London South Bank Film School, and this is a very, very successful programme here within Arts and Creative Industries, because what it's actually allowing students to do at both undergraduate and postgraduate level is, from the day that they arrive onto the film programmes, to develop specialist skills. And it is this skills focus that really underpins the Schools of Arts and Creative Industry. So you can see from the slide here, students are not just doing film practice, but they're specialising in cinematography, editing, writing, directing, or post-production. And I think that's a theme that's going to run through the whole of this presentation this morning, about we don't work in the generic, we work in the specific. So this is about learning through doing and applying the skills that you have to very specific industries. So if we move on to the next slide. What you'll see there are the kinds of environments in which this learning by doing is taking place. We are seeing a multi-million pound, if you go back one, Malcolm.
It won't let me go back. We can only go forward, Helen.
Okay. Well, let's go
It's a progressive
forward.
university.
That's the university motto, going forward.
Exactly.
So what we looked at there very briefly was the facilities, you know, the state-of-the-art facilities that we have in order to enable, you know, film to develop as a program. So then we move on to another series of programs, which are probably the newest within the school. And why they are the newest is because we've done a lot of market research in trying to find the growth areas within the creative industries. And as we've identified those growth areas, so we have developed literally in the last 5 years, degree programs to reflect those areas of the creative industries where we know our students are going to get jobs. And I think that's really important, because one of the most common questions I'm asked at recruitment days and open days is, how will this particular degree, you know, allow me to get a job when I graduate? So we don't want to validate and launch any degrees where students are going to be unemployed at the end of it. So we will only launch a degree if we have, you know, evidence that there is a market for it. So as you can see here, we have the development of a very strong fashion school, looking at promotion, looking at fashion buying. We have the program I'm going to talk about in a moment, creative advertising with marketing and photography. Then on the next set of slides, you can see how this area has developed further. So you can see here we have some further areas of practice, again, that all align with the creative industries and the job sectors in question. We have media production, animation, journalism, game design, music and sound design. So this theme is emerging now of a school that is buzzing with activity, that is producing degrees that in their own right provide students with jobs. But more importantly, I think what makes our school really unique is the high degrees of interdisciplinarity that this structure allows for. So what you would get would be animation students working with film students and working with music students to create scores for their particular pieces of work, advertising students working with journalism students, game students working with film students. So what we're allowed to do there in this particular model is really to replicate what is going on within the creative industries. Let me see if I can share here.
Are we back?
We're back. Fantastic.
Okay.
So that's the sort of underpinning of the school then, really. That gives you a flavour of the kind of disciplines that are taking place. We've lost again now, Malcolm.
Yeah, I'm literally not touching anything, I swear.
Okay, let me see if I can share from my end.
Apologies, everybody, for the technical issues.
Okay, can you all see?
Yes, we can. Yes, Helen, thank you.
So that really gives you
that
gives you an underpinning of what is happening within the school. And as I said, I really want to stress the interdisciplinarity. And this interdisciplinarity takes place not just within the school in terms of how the programs connect with each other, but also in terms of the number of partners that we've had. I've cited already the 2 examples of where we've combined with theatres and galleries in order to make sure that the content of our programs is current and up to date. But as you will see from this slide, these are, you know, a range of partners, whether it's Shakespeare's Globe down on the South Bank, whether it's advertising linking with Estee Lauder, whether it's our journalists linking up with the BBC News. What we're getting constantly is this relationship between the world of work and the curriculum. And it's this that's really enabled London South Bank to gain what we call TEF Silver. And what this means is it's a qualification that centres on teaching excellence, the teaching excellence framework. And we were able to get silver alongside the likes of UCL, King's College, Queen Mary, simply on the basis of the way in which our curriculum reflects the world of work. And through this learning by doing philosophy that will underpin what Malcolm and I have talked about today, it really is groundbreaking in terms of how we are preparing our students for the world of work. And this comes through in just a number of sets of statistics that I can provide you with today. So one of the key markers of student satisfaction here within the UK, as you know, is the NSS, the National Student Survey. And this really is a benchmark across all UK universities as a student voice for them to express how they feel about the course that they have studied. And as you can see, we have done so well consistently across our school. We're #1 for film and media. We're joint first on music. Journalism has come third, and drama is in the top 5. So that's just an eclectic mix of programs there from our school. But what our programs do show is a consistency of quality teaching that students will receive when they come here. And then this was echoed most recently in the Times League table for 2020. So this is the most recent stats that we have here. And again, what we can see for graduate prospects, in other words, the chances that students have of getting a job on graduating, is we were #1 in all our arts and design subjects. We were #1 in the modern universities for communications and media, #1 in quality of teaching for music, and top 20 for drama and cinematics. So there's a consistently high performance that is emanating out of all of our programs. That's not just about us saying that, but why these statistics are really important is it's the outside world looking in on our programs and ranking us with such high esteem. So what I want to start doing now as I drill down into the offer is start to talk about how these principles of learning by doing are actually applied within our courses. And I think the first point that I want to stress here is the introduction of a really exciting venture that came about 3 to 4 years ago by a colleague in photography that has now expanded across the whole of the School of Arts and Creative Industries, and that's called the South Bank Collective. And the South Bank Collective is a company that is owned by students and run by students. And what we found was that a number of students were being asked to produce work for businesses and companies across London as part of their portfolio. But the standard of the work was so high that businesses were coming back again and again and again and actually getting superb quality work for free. So it was identified that this was actually a business opportunity here, that students could actually create a company, work for a company, and then all the money that is gained from the commissions from the businesses who want to employ these students is ploughed back into this business so that students can get better equipment, they can go on additional courses, they can travel. So it really shapes their academic experience. So now we have South Bank Collective working with hospitals using drama students to reenact critical situations. We have the advertising students working with businesses across London, formulating their own promotional strategies. We have photographers providing work for a whole range of activities, and filmmakers making short promotional videos. So through the South Bank Collective, you know, the skills of our students are amplified and sent out there to the wider business world. And above all, this enables us to become Graduate Employment University of the Year 2 years running. And you can see how these initiatives are enabling that to happen. So to close then, I'm just going to talk briefly about one particular degree programme that's close to my heart. And that's the course that I set up and founded here. I've been working in advertising for a number of years. I've worked for an advertising agency, and I also set up the first advertising degree here in the UK in another university. I was brought here 3 years ago to set up the new BA Creative Advertising with Marketing. And when I actually designed this course, I designed it specifically from the point of view of the industry. And basically what I did in designing this course was to think first and foremost about the kinds of skills that the industry needed from graduates. And therefore, one of the most important pieces of feedback that I get from my students is that no matter what I teach, they can see why they are learning what they are and how it applies to the world of work. So what I teach on then is an interesting course. It's the unique course in the country. Nobody else does this, is take a creative subject like advertising and apply it to a business school discipline, namely marketing. And the reason why I've done this is so that students can see the full perspective of why a business needs advertising. So they do 3/4 of their studies in the creative subject and a quarter in marketing. And what that quarter in marketing enables them to do is to get real world experiences of the kinds of problems that businesses encounter. So they are using 25% of their time to immerse themselves in the business world and be familiar with the kind of problems that businesses encounter. And then the other 75% working with me in advertising to find solutions to those business problems. And what that also enables them to do through working in this combination to gain additional accreditation on the program, which is namely the Chartered Institute of Marketing. So they leave with double accreditation at the end of the degree. And I think what really makes this degree exciting is its range and breadth. Students are never bored because they are working on a whole range of exercises, which we call live briefs. And live briefs specifically are moments when we draw the business community into the curriculum and get them to talk about particular problems that they're encountering. And as part of their assessment, students then actually have to provide solutions to those particular business problems. So right from day one on the course, students are learning by doing about real business problems. So let me take you through just an overview of the syllabus to see how that plays out in practice. So what we've got are 3 years of a degree, what we call here in the UK, as you know, levels 4, 5 and 6. And at each year, students are combining their business study practices with a creative solution. So through, for example, the first year, the principles of marketing and marketing in a digital world, they are understanding how businesses operate. And then through coming over into advertising, they are introduced to particular creative solutions. So let me focus just on 2 modules in the first year that I think you'll be particularly interested in. So in order for students to learn the software packages they need to work in advertising, I teach them Introduction to Cross-Platform Creative Practice. And in order for students to start to develop their creative portfolio, I work very closely with the drama department. And students are then set a brief by the drama department for all the productions that drama are doing throughout the year. And the advertising students, as part of their assessment for the first year, produce all the publicity materials for the drama school that I talked to you about earlier. So they're producing content for the web, they're producing the program, they're producing the promotional posters. So that's a really good example of learning by doing. Rather than just learning software in the abstract, they're learning the software and then applying it to real situations, namely the launch of productions of the drama school. The other module that students absolutely adore is the brands, branding and social media. And what that's all about is about students understanding the branding world and being able to identify a gap in the market that they then can launch their own brand into. So rather than just learning theoretically about branding, they are doing that, but then they're applying through learning by doing an idea that they might have around a particular brand and how that might be launched. And we've had some really good success stories coming out of this module, bearing in mind it's only the first year. We had a student last year, a Romanian student, who was very much into the notion of sustainability and how it really needed to be applied across all market sectors. And she became aware of how much waste there was within the beauty industry and actually designed a whole range of makeup brushes in bamboo rather than plastic, which was the actual dominant form within the market. And through that particular product range, not only did she score well in her assessment, but she also took that idea to our entrepreneurial centre that Malcolm outlined earlier. And she's actually working now on launching it. The packaging is done, the logo is done, the design is coming on. She just needs a little bit more help around IP and patenting, and that is due to go. So as you can see,
I just like
all
Helen,
the
just
levels.
to ask, just 1 second, sorry. So just to clarify, that's like a first year student, yes?
That's just a first year. That's
first
somebody
year sort of-
operating at level 4.
Okay, 18-year-old, 19-year-old girl has an idea to create bamboo sustainable makeup brushes, and she's already made that business idea happen.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that for me is like a perfect example of what I see all the time at London South Bank University. I'm constantly amazed by these young people doing these amazing things. When I was 18, 19, I was doing nothing. going to lectures, going to the pub, going to the library, that was pretty much it. But I really think that is a perfect example of But thank you, Helen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, Malcolm. And I think that's why businesses want to work with us. I'll give you another example. This is a cycling company, Hackney GT. Hackney is an area of East London. And, you know, we're getting calls now, which is making it really, really exciting, bearing in mind this program is only 3 years old, from businesses who want to work with us because they recognize the entrepreneurial spirit. And this was another live brief that our second years worked on. And this was a company that felt that they had grown as much as they could within the London area. And they came in and said to the students, how can I grow my business more? And that actually was the assessment question that students had to work on that particular term within advertising. And an idea that he particularly liked because he hadn't thought of it, and he really appreciated, you know, the students providing new perspectives on business, was that traditionally all the research that came out was that cycling was very much a masculine sport. And what one of our students did was to actually reframe the cycling gear that he was selling in a much more feminine space. So she introduced him to Instagram, and through partnering with some of our colleagues in photography, was able to produce some amazing photographic work, as you can see here, and get him to think about a whole new market, opening up cycling gear as streetwear for a female market. And he actually embraced that idea and ran with it, as you can see here. So that's an example, a second example of students' entrepreneurial spirit affecting business. And then just to come to the end then, really, our final years are working with H&M at the moment on their conscious collection around sustainability. And what that's enabling them to do is to reframe H&M, who initially were paving the way around sustainability, but got, you know, taken over by a number of other businesses who've been much more effective in promoting it. And so what they are doing is breathing life into the H&M Conscious Collection through an amazing set of promotional work that will form the basis for their portfolio when they go out into the industry. So just to close then, how I look at, you know, the job that I have and that I love is that I'm enhanced in my teaching by the fact that I'm in zone 1, as Malcolm said. We're only 15 minutes away from Oxford Circus, 10 minutes away from the South Bank, and that enables me to take students out of the classroom consistently and do my teaching in the wonderful spaces we have around us. I teach nearly all of my visual cultures module down at Tate Modern, so that they haven't got to look at paintings in textbooks. They're actually studying the artwork as it is there on the wall. I'm always bringing people in. We have lots of guest speakers. So last term we had a copywriting class from Saatchi's. We have the famous D&AD industry body coming into us talking about their work. We have a number of the companies that Malcolm talked about on site, the small startups, such as one which is a brand loyalty company, coming in to talk to students about their work. So we have this constant symbiotic relationship between businesses and learning, working together and feeding off each other. And so therefore what we have now is a really successful program that had 10 students in the first year, 22 in the second, 35 in the third, and probably around 40 to 50 in this fourth year of launch. That really is founded on the principles of learning by doing, and I think exemplifies the London South Bank ethos. And if you look at this final slide here, you will see that our students now are actually creating their own promotional material for the degree. And this is something that one of our second years has created as part of his copywriting portfolio. So I really believe in promoting the students' work in whatever way that I can. And you can see here an example of learning by doing and promoting by doing. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Helen. So yeah, and I think, as you mentioned, it's a really fantastic example of, I think, what you're doing in your faculty and what London South Bank is doing. And also this program too, I often try and promote this program too, because so many students who don't know what they want to do, they choose business management. But I'm constantly trying to sort of flag up to students, hey, there's not just business management, there's all these other business related degrees you could do. Like, wouldn't you say that this degree, it's business enough that if a student wants to do just a business degree, but with a bit more of a creative slant to it, this would be a suitable business degree that you could go on and work in any sphere of business afterwards?
I think that's a really good point. And that is what attracts students, is the fact that it is offering flexibility in exit routes once you've graduated. Because some students say to me, well, I don't want to study a purely creative subject such as photography or film, because I know that it's incredibly competitive to get into those particular industries. And in fact, at the end of the degree, I might not want to be a filmmaker. And then other students say to me, I don't necessarily want to do just business studies because I want to start up my own business and want to create my own promotional materials, but business studies won't allow me to do that. So where the success of this degree has come is around the flexibility in the offer that students can, when graduating, either go into, a business company, i.e. working client side, or they can work agency side in PR, event management, advertising, etc., dependent on, as they grow through the degree, where their interests lie.
And one thing I've been impressed too, and I've spoken to you before about your degree, is when your students graduate, it seems that your students in particular, they have really clear ideas of the kind of jobs they want to do, which I think is really, really cool. So how do you think the degree helps the students figure out what they want to do in terms of career?
I think through all the ways that you particularly talked about in your opening, Malcolm, really, I think it's through involving businesses in the delivery of the curriculum. From day one, business isn't something that they will encounter when they graduate. They are encountering businesses who are coming in, delivering live briefs and working with students from the outset. So one of the most important things that enables is that students know what jobs are out there. Because certainly within the field that I'm in, advertising, it's such a growth area. New jobs are being created all the time, particularly with the introduction of AI, VR, AR, etc. There are jobs that I don't even know what they are at the moment. They are being developed as we speak. So it's really important that we get businesses in so students know what the career paths are out there for them. The other thing that it enables them, to do is to develop the necessary and requisite skills that they need for business. Your example around the, Institute of Directors, for example, they like London South Bank students. Why? Because they've got skills. They don't just know the theory behind business, they have the skills. So my students are learning applicable skills that they can relate to businesses. So when they're actually thinking about what job to go into, not only do they have the skills for those businesses, but through encountering businesses throughout their degree, including on placement, then they know what is out there and can be much more specific and focused in terms of targeting jobs at the end of it.
Exactly. It's something I say. It's like the idea is that a London South Bank University student, in my mind, in theory, you're supposed to graduate already with a resume. You already graduate with a portfolio of work that you've done, whether it's engineering, whether it's bioscience, whether it's business, whether it's law. The idea is you have something to show to employers after you graduate, something other than just, I sat in a lecture theatre for 3 years and went to the library and did some essays. The idea is that you really get to learn by doing. And also, Helen, just some other quick words too, just to mention too, to everybody as well, one thing we didn't cover in this is one thing I do find increasingly, especially in Europe, especially in Russia, especially when I go to different fairs, a lot of young people are really, really interested in these creative arts degrees. And I sometimes notice a lot of parents are a bit hesitant about letting their kids study, I don't know, animation or music and sound design. We've got a lot of Russian agents on the call today. and I'm noticing in Russia, we're getting an increasing number of students for music and sound design, one of our sort of sound technology courses. Just to mention to everybody, the creative industries are the third fastest growing sector in London. So it is a genuine thing. It is a genuine employing, growing sector in London. And I think these programs, I would say, maybe you agree, Helen, it's like you get to study creative subjects, but also there's a real backbone of structured, practically applied, employment-focused modules too, which will help you find a job in that sector.
And I go back to that point that I made earlier, Malcolm, which I think is really important. London South Bank's ethos is it will not launch a new degree unless it's done the due diligence to determine if there's a growth in the market for that particular subject area. So, for example, we do not have a classics degree at London South Bank because our ethos is this learning by doing and the application of lot of knowledge to the job market. So therefore, one of the areas that we have seen growth in is around music and sound design. You know, music video, film, cinema, promotional video, all of those are now involving high quality sound. So the market research that came out was to actually pinpoint the amount of growth in the market for people who have qualifications in sound design. And it was only when we can determine that there is market intelligence for those jobs that we can actually launch a degree. So I think that's very, very important that we are not just choosing degrees based on the research and expertise of the staff. That's not what drives it. It's the job market all the time that is the driver of what degrees South Bank launches.
Okay, thank you, Helen. So thank you very much. I'm sure we can share this presentation afterwards with everybody. So if you have more questions about arts and creative industries, about our different programs, you can get in touch with me or with your counterpart on campus, with Yuri, with Olga, with Himali. We're all happy to sort of help answer questions about these courses. And Helen, I don't want to oversell you as well, but I do know that you're always very willing to speak to potential students or to external partners about your course and about the program. So I don't want to volunteer your time without your permission, but I'm sure you're happy to speak to anyone who wants to learn more.
Absolutely. I'm getting some good questions on the chat here, which I'm responding to. I've had a question about portfolios. If people want to put their mics on and I can interact with people with questions. Augusta?
Oh, hello. I'm sorry. I mixed up the time as we changed to summertime. I thought it would be 10:30 our time, but it's the same. You changed as well. So I'm so sorry. I wanted to apologize.
Welcome.
So I'm just listening.
So yeah,
I'm just answering Tamara's question. Tamara?
So Tamara's asking, do students need to have a serious portfolio before enrollment? Don't worry, Tamara, it's okay. You don't need to speak for us to answer that question. Helen, do students need a serious portfolio before they apply?
No. Portfolios function for me as a talking point for interview and allow me to gain insight into the creative mind of the student. And the reason why portfolios are not an absolute requirement is that often I will get students perhaps who have studied languages at higher level, or perhaps they have studied business studies and now want to cross over into creative subjects. And they are often very, very stressed, saying, well, I didn't do a portfolio as part of my studies. It wasn't required for modern languages. It wasn't required for business. But some students who have done media-based subjects do have portfolios. So I use the portfolio really as an opportunity to have a discussion point, to frame a discussion with students at interview so that I can talk about their work. So if a student hasn't got a portfolio because they haven't developed one as part of their studies, then I ask them things like, do you have a blog? Do you have an Instagram site? Is there a way that I can see your photographs? Because what I'm looking for are students who may not have done a creative subject, but who are creative. So I've even had some students who perhaps are interested in fashion and they have a fashion blog. And that's amazing, because that's giving me an insight into how they express themselves creatively. So students should never, ever be put off if they don't have a portfolio. If they don't have a portfolio, then send me some of the photographs that they take, send me a blog, send me a link to their Instagram site or their Facebook page, etc., where they are expressing themselves creatively.
Yeah, I think it's a key thing that often comes up too, just to point out, we're not an art school in the sense that we're looking for this. I think sometimes students freak out and they think they have to produce this amazing body of 10 years of masterpieces of work.
Yeah.
We're looking for potential, and that also goes for our other courses, like courses that are not in this faculty, like architecture, for example. I see a lot of potential students for undergrad architecture, and they think they have to have like 5 years of models of buildings. We're not expecting that. These are high school students. So it's just, as you say, some kind of creative potential. Almost all young people nowadays use Instagram. I'm sure even just some Instagram photos showing their eye for what catches their eye and what they're interested in is also good enough too. And I know that you interview the students too, yes?
Yes, every student is interviewed, and the reason for that is mainly to do with suitability. It's to do with having an opportunity to talk with the student, talk through the content of the course, and be absolutely sure it's the right course for them. So they don't have to get anxious about preparing for interview. They don't have to revise or prepare particular answers. It's about a conversation around advertising. And it's also, more importantly than anything else, an opportunity for them to have a one-to-one with me, so that they can be absolutely sure that this is the course that they want, that they are coming to, in many cases, a different country to study, and it gives them peace of mind as well. So the interview, I tend to look at it more like a first date than an interview. It's about us getting to know each other, talking about the course, and for them to ask me questions so that they feel comfortable and confident with the choices that they are making, because I do understand how important this decision is in their lives.
Yep, and I think Theo was also asking too a question. I think we've kind of covered this already, but he's asking, international students and parents don't always value the importance of creative arts. So how can we change this and convince them not to do something more traditional like law, medicine, accounting, pharmacy? Yeah, that is true. That's often something I come across too in the work I do. Sometimes I wonder, I would say almost 60-70% of the young people I speak to at fairs nowadays, they want to do creative arts, they want to do photography, they want to do filmmaking, they want to do games design, animation, these things. I do think we have, and there is of course that generational divide. I do think we've covered that a lot in the presentation today about how we offer these arts programs, but there is a very applied approach, a big focus on employability, practical skills. It's not just 3 years of conceptual arts, it's 3 years of applied arts with a career focus. And I think your degree, Helen, is a good compromise, I think, because it combines a creative focus, but also with a very practical, real-world business focus too. And I don't think we said this explicitly, but this course in particular, Helen's course, and fashion promotion with marketing, is taught 50% by the School of Arts and Creative Industries, but it's also taught 50% by the business schools. So the more kind of like in-depth marketing modules will be taught by the business faculty. So the degree is awarded by the School of Arts and Creative Industries, but the business school is also involved too. Isn't that right, Helen?
It is. It's very much that. And so students are getting, hence, so my degree and the fashion promotion degree is validated by the Chartered Institute of Marketing. So we have professional bodies that recognise the professional input and criteria of this particular course. And secondly, again, I go back to Malcolm, your very, very first point in your very first slide about us being based in Zone 1. You know, London, as you are all aware, when we're not on lockdown, is changing and becoming, you know, one of the growth areas now for creative industries. Whether you look at the east or the west of London, all new businesses that are in tech, Google, etc., are all setting up their bases here. And so, you know, when I speak to parents about this, I tend to pull up the stats and the data around where the jobs, you know, the areas of growth are. And we will always need law and we will always need medicine. But I try and reassure parents by showing them, you know, that this isn't something that's just going to happen over a year or two. There is clear evidence that, you know, as a creative hub, London, you know, is becoming the epicenter.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, anybody? Yeah, okay. Indeed, you're right, Theo. Yeah, I mean, of course, these courses are very relevant to particular markets and not so relevant to others. So yeah, we have big markets. For example, these are big markets for international education: India, South Asia, West Africa. Yeah, those countries will always tend to, students from those countries do tend to gravitate towards more traditional subjects. But I do find, you know, you can be surprised by things change. I mean, I know we have Olga on the call today too. You know, I've been working in this sphere for 10 years now. 10 years ago in Russia, there was very little interest in these kind of subjects. It was all very much accounting, engineering, traditional subjects. And nowadays we're seeing a big change too. So these trends come and go. London South Bank University, we have a huge range of courses, a huge range of faculties. Sometimes the challenge for me is to present to agents just the full range of what we do. But we do have a really big engineering school, a big law school, a big school around sort of construction, civil engineering, architecture. So we do teach a lot of traditional practical subjects too, which if you are agents who are working with these markets, we definitely have those courses too. Anything else? If not, I will revert back to just some other points about London South Bank, if you will have me back. Right, round two. Can you all see this?
Yes.
Yay, okay. And it's gone again, right?
We can see your slides.
You can see the slides. Okay, let's hope that remains the case. So yeah, just to mention what I was saying, just to back that up. Today I chose to focus on arts and creative industries because I think it's a really good example of what the university is doing, and I think it's an overlooked faculty, and I think it's a really strong faculty at the university. I think we offer really appealing programs. We are often, depending on the market, I would say London South Bank University is thought of as very much an engineering school or a business school, but we have a huge range of subjects. You can see the 7 faculties here. Just some other stuff too about entry requirements as well. So for bachelor's entry degree, of course, if students are eligible for direct entry, they would need to normally have 3 passes at UK A levels or equivalent. We'll look at other international qualifications if students have 12 years of education. So if you're calling from Russia or Ukraine or Kazakhstan or countries where they have 11 years, in most cases, students will need to do a foundation program, in which case, speak to Himali or Olga or Yuri. LSBU on campus has a large range of foundation programs. And if you want to check out what the local qualification you would need to get direct entry would be, you can check out the Your Country pages on our website. And for a master's level, just to mention also, sorry on campus guys, I don't mean to do you out of students, but there's often a misconception too in some countries that all students need a pre-master's to do a master's in the UK. That's not true. In most cases, if you have a bachelor's degree from your home country, whether that's a European country, whether that's a country in the CIS or Turkey or Egypt or wherever, normally we'll accept a non-UK master's if there's a minimum of, depends on the country, I would say as a rule of thumb, minimum 65%. English requirements too. One thing I should mention, this is a big misconception in many countries. UKVI, academic IELTS UKVI is not mandatory for us as a university. If you are doing a pre-sessional program or if you're doing a foundation program, that is a program which is not degree level, then you will need to do academic IELTS UKVI. I don't know what the situation is right now in light of the recent developments with COVID and the cancellation of IELTS centres and all the rest of it. You'll need to speak to on campus about that. But in theory, even in normal times, even without coronavirus, for direct entry to bachelor's or master's, we would need academic IELTS, non-UKVI, or UKVI is fine. But we'll also accept other qualifications like TOEFL, CAE, Pearson's PTE, also IB, GCSEs, A-levels. There's many other qualifications which will accept. So even if your students don't have IELTS or UKVI, IELTS for these things, they have something which you think we may accept, get in touch and I can give you some more advice on that. And in terms of prices, not the least important question of all, I think, like we mentioned, yes.
Sorry
Yes.
to interrupt. Should your slides be moving through these topics because we are just seeing the BSc Biomedical Science?
They should be. Okay, well, let's see. Can you see the prices now?
No.
Nope.
Yes. Oh, it's gone.
Just
We had a
back.
fraction of a second. We're back to biomedical now.
Okay, well, you know, I really wanted everyone to know about biomedical science today, so I'm glad. I'm glad the message is getting across. One of our most impressive new programs, everybody. If anyone has any questions about biomedical science, I'm happy to take them on that. Okay, I don't know what's happening. My computer is, I'm working from home like many of us in this situation, and I have a little old laptop, which is all I have in this current situation. So I'm not sure it was built to speak to the world about LSBU. Prices, well, what I can tell you is, just so you know, our bachelor's and master's fee, if you look on the site, you should see this too. But it's around about 14,470. I know it's good to see numbers, not just hear numbers, but 14,470, first of all. We offer all international students, by the way, this is for international, not EU students. For international students, we offer a scholarship for all students, even if they don't deserve it, they get the scholarship, which is 1,570. But we also offer merit scholarships. So if your students have high grades in their high school leaving certificate or in their on-campus foundation program, there's a slightly different merit scholarship there, sorry. But if they have, for example, A-levels of BBB, we would offer a bachelor's discount of £3,000 every year. And for a master's degree, if you have roundabout, I would say, a UK 2-1 or roundabout 75–80% in your home country, and we would offer a merit scholarship of £4,000. That means you can do a master's or a bachelor's for roundabout 11,500 pounds in London. And if we factor in accommodation too, that's going to cost you around about £6,000 a year at London South Bank University. So at well under £20,000, you have a good ranked university. We're now ranked 67th in the UK, I believe, on the Guardian ranking. That's a lot higher than a lot of people think we are. The university has been rising steadily over the last few years. You have, for well under £20,000, a really practical, employment-focused, hands-on degree, really dedicated staff. And it really, for the cost of studying in the UK, I think it's a lot less than a lot of people think. So, yeah, thank you very much, everybody. Do you have any more questions at all about the course or about London South Bank University for me? I promise I won't try and show you any more presentation today. Oh, we do have a question, or something's happening in the chat side. Let's see. How many international students, Theo? Okay. You say how many international students on this program? Do you mean on Helen's particular program? So Helen, would you know how many international, when we say international, let's say EU, it's difficult to say at London South Bank, isn't it? Because it's a central London university. London being London, it's such an international place. And the stats are based on sort of fee status. And there are so many students that qualify as British students, but you know, they're from all over the world. So you say 60% of your students are not from the UK. Gosh, that's quite a big number. At London South Bank University as a whole, we say 25% of students are international, including EU. But I would say, it being central London, like I said, it's a very diverse campus. It's one of the most diverse unis in the UK. Also, we have a really large number of what we would call older students, mature students. And mature students, for us, that means sort of over the age of 22, really, 23. So I think it's what, for me personally, makes it a fascinating place to work as well. I really love walking around the campus and sort of meeting lots of different students from different places, different backgrounds. I think it's a very stimulating place to work and study for that reason. Any other questions, anybody?
Sorry. Do EU students pay fees as UK students or as international students now?
Well, yes. So it was announced by the government that for this intake for September 2020, nothing is changing for EU students. So they will still be paying EU fees, which is around about 9,250, I think. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But it's the standard fee for all universities in the UK for EU students, and they will still be allowed to apply for loans from Student Finance England. Please don't ask me any questions about COVID-19 or coronavirus, because we're still waiting for directives from the government, and it's a day-by-day thing at the moment. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm sure you're all in the same boat in that regard.
So if students apply directly and they are EU students, do they apply for loan through the university services?
EU students, if they want to apply for a loan, they would have to contact Student Finance England. Though I do believe if they contact our student finance team, they would be able to, or a student inquiries team, they'd be able to tell them how to do that and the steps to take.
Thank you.
It's quite easy to do. It's quite easy to do. I'm giving my age away here. I'm old enough that I missed student fees completely. I studied for free. I was the last year of students that studied for free. So I haven't been through the process myself. And I personally recruit in non-EU countries. So I'm not an expert on this area, but I do know that it's a very easy process to follow. Literally, if they just Google student financing and they go to the website, there's very clear steps of what to do. But if you need more guidance, do get in touch. We do have a team who can help advise you on that if you want to know more.
Thank you very much.
Gusta, and Thea was asking, biomedical science. I'm glad my message got across. We do offer biomedical science, if anyone was wondering. Thea was asking, many parents see this program as an alternative to medicine. Yes, it can be. So getting onto medical programs is very competitive and very, very difficult for many students. Very expensive in the UK too. But biomedical science program has an accreditation, which means if you complete the degree, and you need to get very good grades as well. It's not a guaranteed thing. If you complete the degree with good grades, you can progress on to graduate route medicine after graduation from the biomedical sciences program. So it is good for students that aren't quite ready for medicine in the UK and want to try and see if that's a possibility for them. Thank you, Theo. Any more questions? I'll be sitting at home for the next month, everybody. So I'm not in a hurry. If not, that's fine. We can maybe conclude things. Thank you all for coming today and listening. And yeah, like I said, any questions at all, please get in touch. Yes, I'm going to put my email address here. That's what I'll do. I'll share the slide. You go. Drop me a line at any time or get in touch with Olga or Yuri or Himali, and we're happy to take your questions further. And yeah, stay safe and well, everybody. And thanks for coming this morning, and look forward to meeting you all sometime later in the year when we can all travel again.
Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you, Helen.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks everyone for your participation. So have a good weekend, and I hope this webinar was useful for you. So, and hope to see you next week.